Hi everyone. Today I'm just going to start with a brief mini lecture to introduce you to basically what technical communication is and give you a little idea of what it entails. So, technical communication has two different meanings. The first is the process of making and sharing technical information in the workplace. And that is something that you will be doing a great deal in your career is making the and processing the information so that other people who are less technically inclined than you can actually understand it. And technical communication also is a set of applications, the documents you write and the presentations you deliver. So anytime that you're writing a document, a memo, an email, a resume, that's a form of technical communication. When you're making presentations about particular things in the workplace, again, that's a form of technical communication. And you will have different roles as a technical communicator. You may be the writer of the document, so you may be the person that's actually doing the writing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You might be a member of the team, and so you're working together. Or, for example, in engineering, you could be an information resource for others. So you may be providing the technical communication to others who are going to write it or work and use pieces of what you have said or what you have created into the project team. So there are different roles that you can play as a technical communicator, and it may just depend on the project you're working on or the company you're working for, what your particular position is. All different kinds of things can impact what exactly you will do. And again, you could be doing all three at some time or just one. So technical communication is really important to your career, and this is something that I've heard for many years. There's actually a joke about engineers. Why is it that engineers can't write? And it's true that companies are really looking for employees that have strong communication skills. And what that does is it will allow you to grow up in the chain of command, to get promotions. If you are not a strong communicator, you are less likely to become a manager. A manager or any operations head needs to be able to communicate well, needs to be able to organize tasks, summarize and provide tons of information to multiple audiences. So if you just want a job, then you don't really have to focus that much on technical communication. But if you're hoping to become a leader in some leadership position, then you're really going to need to have strong communication skills. So here are the 6 characteristics of technical communication. So these are the items that make something considered to be technical communication. So technical communication addresses a particular reader. It helps readers solve particular problems. It reflects the organization's goals and culture. It is produced collaboratively. It uses design to increase readability, and it consists of words and or images. As you'll see in a few minutes, images are really an important component of technical communication. And an important skill that technical communicators need to have is they need to know how to use design features to make the technical document attractive, easy to read and navigate, and understandable. So all of these things are part of the communication process when you are creating a piece of technical writing. Images can help, and they help in these ways. They can make a document more interesting and more appealing. Think about when you're reading just straight text with nothing to break up the words can get a little tedious and tiresome, although there may be some cases that's important. They can also communicate and reinforce difficult concepts. So it's a way to explain something that's very complex in a less complex way. Something that's very technical that non-technicians might not understand. And they communicate instructions and descriptions of objects and processes. This step, think of this as, when you get a piece of furniture and you're putting it together, and you've got that pamphlet or booklet or sheet of paper that tells you what to do. That is an excellent example of technical communication. Some of those work really well, some of them not so well. The other thing that technical communication does, or that images can do, is that it can communicate large amounts of quantifiable data. So it can give you a picture of all different kinds of data, think graphs here and charts, in a little amount of space. And it can help communicate with non-native speakers. Again, going back to the furniture directions, most of them these days are pictures, and so you don't need with little stick figures and stuff to represent a human being doing something. So then you don't really need any understanding of English to make sense of the directions. Here's an example of imagery and technical communication. You can see, even though this is not English, that this is an example of a food pyramid, and it's showing you those things that you need to eat every day. And again, with these pictures, you don't necessarily need to know what frutas means or granos. I really apologize for my pronunciation, but you can see you don't really have to know what those items are. This is another example of technical communication, and this is software. I think these are software. It's some kind of comparison of information, and so you can see again that this, with these images, or the way that this is designed, it creates a very specific flow of information. You can see on the left hand you've got this menu, much like in Blackboard, and you can see that with these little boxes there's different kinds of information. Perhaps they're drop down boxes and you have choices, but this particular design is designed to let you to make its usability more user-friendly. And here's another example. Videos can be an excellent part of technical communication. They tell you how to do something, how to get ready for something, those kinds of things, how to prepare, whatever. But they can solve problems. You've got the live chat, I'm online, start chat. So you can see that this whole web page here is set up to convey important information and is designed to be easy to use. You've got the menu at the very top of the page, you've got the contact number, contact us, sitemap, all at the very top so that you can get an overall picture of what's where. You've got a video here that's explaining to you why this is important, what you need to do. You've got somebody to help you. You've got menu buttons on the right hand side, and I would imagine that the solve your problem section has, those are probably links, and you can click on those, sort of like FAQs. To get answers. So you can see that this whole page is designed to be user-friendly and designed with solving problems and getting something accomplished, and that's the purpose. So there are 8 measures of excellence in technical communication. There are 8 items that you're looking for to see if a piece of technical communication is well done. You want to find out if it's honest. So for example, Is it making claims that are realistic, that are true claims? Is it, saying, oh, I don't know, aspirin's going to solve all the world's problems? Is it, and that's obviously not true. It can help in some cases and it can help some people. So you want to look at the claims that are being made by the piece. You want to see that it is clear, that it makes sense, it focuses on particular issues and is not all over the place. Um, similarly, similarly related to honesty is accuracy. Is the information accurate? Is it up to date? So, for example, if you were looking at a report about the effectiveness of aspirin that was written in 1986, that's not going to be nearly as relevant or accurate or useful as reports written in 2015, 2014. So you can see that timeliness is an integral part of accuracy these days. Is it comprehensive? Does it give you the big picture? Does it show you all of the elements that you need to know to get the information that is relevant to you? Is it accessible? This is a huge problem in technical communication because techies are trying to communicate really complex information to non-techies. And if you can't read it or you can't understand it, if it's not accessible, then the techies have failed in the technical communication. And it can be really hard to break down complex tasks into small enough pieces so that the non-technician can really understand it. Again, is it concise? One of the biggest principles in technical communication, technical writing, is short and sweet. You don't want fluff. When I'm grading your work, I will say wordy, 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 it's too wordy, and you will get sick of seeing the word wordy. But what you're doing with technical communication in this class is exactly the opposite of everything you've done when you've written when you've written essays. So what you're doing in this class is you're making only the important information. You're writing in a way that only gives the reader the exact, precise information that the reader needs to solve his or her problem. You're not adding fluff. You're not adding words to meet the word count. You're really focusing on getting that precise information in a way that is short and sweet to the reader. You also want it to look good. And again, and we'll touch on this in depth throughout the course, but it's really important that things look professional. They look clean. They look easy to read. They have clear headings and subheadings so that someone who just needs to skim the information can find what he or she is looking for very quickly. And that's a real key point in technical communication is timeliness. It really needs to be easy to use. I can look at it quickly, get the information I need, and go on. And this next issue, correctness, that's really important. And it's, I think, probably my least favorite part of this class. But what happens when you send out a piece of technical communication that is full of grammar errors and spelling errors and not correctly designed or poorly designed? Then your readers are going to think you don't know what you're talking about. They're not going to trust you or trust what you have said because you didn't put any time and effort into making the piece of technical communication correct. So if it's not, correctly spelled, correctly formatted, have good grammar, then it's going to turn the reader off and really make the reader question you. So this is really very important, and I feel like I've said this many times when I'm teaching this class. I kind of feel like the grammar Nazi when I'm teaching this class because I really have to focus on you getting it right. I really have to focus on making sure that you are following the rules of grammar and spelling and formatting and design. So you'll see me correcting you a great deal, and it's not to give you a hassle, it's because it is really an integral part of technical communication. Another important key component, and we'll go into this in the next mini lecture, is communicate honestly. If you give out misinformation, you can really hurt people. For example, thinking about putting together a lawnmower or how to start a lawnmower, what to do with the gasoline. If your information isn't correct, something really horrible could happen and people could get hurt. They could lose fingers, lawnmower could catch on fire, all kinds of things can happen if you're not very clear and honest with the correct way to follow whatever the document is you're creating, so the correct steps to follow, that kind of thing. So also, if you're dishonest and misrepresent your company or yourself, you can face serious legal charges. So you could be held accountable for some document that you created that gave out misinformation. So communicate honestly to protect yourself as well. That's equally as important. And again, going back to it should be clear, technical communication can be dangerous, or unclear can be dangerous, and it can be expensive. So that concludes this brief introduction to technical communication. If you have questions about what I've said or questions about Chapter 1, by all means post them in the I Have a Question forum, or you can post them in or you can email them to me. So have a great day.